Alright, so today we're going to do a little bit of a video on the Matador Arms MAT9K. So I've had this this firearm for over a year now. I got this when these first came out, the 9Ks. I don't remember if the MAT9s were already out. Maybe the uppers were out and there was a whole kit that was just coming out. But either way, this just came out. I got them. And I've had it for over a year now, so let's jump into it and do a little bit of a off the cusp review here. So starting off with Matador Arms, you know, it was a little bit of a rough start when I ordered it. There was a tentative ship date that got pushed back a couple weeks, and eventually I got it, and it wasn't a bad experience because I got on the phone with Dave from Matador Arms. He called me actually, and he let me choose my serial number and whatnot for having to wait a little bit longer. But so that was my first issue. Second issue is the guide rod was broken, and we'll get to that later once we break down the gun. But again, it wasn't a problem. Still shot with it broken, and they promptly sent me a new one. But getting right into it, you know, it's a 9mm firearm. It takes Glock mags, whether that's, you know, big stick mags or just your normal Glock mags. It's a small, really compact little gun. I almost think I wish I would have got the MAT9 instead of the 9K, the little bit longer one. But I've really enjoyed it so far, and I've put a ton of rounds through this. So how I have it set up, big fan of holographic sights. I have astigmatism. The reticle is just so much clearer for me on holographic sights, and I have actually really grown to like the UH1, particularly for night vision, passive aiming. I actually like this better than I do my EOTechs, which I know some people will get mad about. Also, the warranty from Vortex is just amazing. I broke about that much. Why am I crossing my hands? About that much off my throw lever. I sent it to them just to see if they could replace that. They sent me a brand new one. So this is, well, it's not brand new anymore, but this was my was brand new when they had sent it to me. So breaking it down, how I have it set up, I want something that I can still use with night vision, suppressed obviously, and a white light. I actually really love Surefire Pro lights. You know, a lot of people will have their opinions on Surefire, but I really enjoy them. I like the dedicated swivel mount, and I'm a big fan of clicky caps. I don't like pressure pads. So the one problem I have with this setup is I don't have a way to really grip this good. This is not super comfortable like this. I'd like to get my hand down here, but then I'm getting my hand on the bolt, and then I've pinched my fingers in there a few times. So what I've kind of resorted to is coming down a little bit lower, kind of looking like I don't know what I'm doing carrying a gun, but then my finger is already right on the activation button for the light, and if I want to go to my laser, I'm going to just have to grip up top, which isn't a problem for aiming with the laser. Moving on here, we got a Griffin Armament Revolution 9K, or I guess it's 9, it's in the K configuration right now with a direct thread attachment. So I have tried time and time again, including right before I made this video, to put a muzzle device on here so that this can use its taper locking system. I cannot get it to be concentric. The muzzle will not, or when the suppressor's on to the muzzle device, it never gets aligned correctly. When I put it through a suppressor check rod, it's so far off, you can even see it if you're just looking down the bore. I sent the muzzle device back to Griffin. They say it's fine, so it's clearly just a problem. I mean, I even got the gosh, what are they, the better version of the timing shims. We only need one. I can't remember the name of it right off the top of my head, but I even got those, still cannot get it to time right. And I've made sure it's torqued correctly. You know, all my other firearms that have shims, I've done them all fine. It's just this one firearm. I don't know. So, but when it's direct thread on there, it checks perfectly on the check rod. So, moving on to this, this is actually a mag pull hand stop. It's those big long ones that has a big hook on one end, and this is the other part of it. I took a grinder, cut it down. Actually, I don't know which side I cut down, but it's you know, this was really for when I wasn't running a suppressor, because I was having a hard time when I was dry firing. I was going further than I wanted to. This was before all this was on there too, actually, so maybe it wouldn't be too big of a deal now. But I wanted something that I'm going to stop my hand before coming past the muzzle. But just continuing on here on what's on it, Radian Talon GI 45 safety selector. I got these on all my firearms. They're my favorite safeties. Not all of them. If it's a longer range gun, I really like to have a ambidextrous safety, because I like to have my thumb to the side to just click the safety that way, and those don't need to be 45 then. Coming down, we got the Magpul slimline grip. Really like it for this. I don't know how much I'd like it on a AR. It is slimmer, but I really do enjoy it for it. Moving on a little bit further, we got the A3 Tactical brace. So this is a braced weapon, not an SBR, and we'll get to that in a second. And it folds, makes it a little bit more compact. So like I just mentioned, braced weapon, not SBR. Why do I do that? So the only reason is the state that I live in. If I'm going to have a firearm in the car and have it loaded, it can only be a pistol. So a rifle cannot be loaded inside the vehicle. The magazine can be next to it. It just cannot be inserted with a round in the chamber. But being as this is a pistol, that's perfectly legal. And so that's the only reason why it's still braced. And then that kind of segues into the next part of how practical is a firearm like this. Well, truthfully, I don't think PCCs, AR9s, 9mm rifles, whatever you want to call these type of firearms, I don't think they're too practical. They're cool. That's the main reason why I got this. It's cool. It's fun to keep it in my truck every once in a while and bring it with me places. Maybe put it in a bag or something. That's cool. But practically, you know, that's not a practical thing, and I do think there are better weapon systems for this. But again, it's cool and I like it, so I don't care. Shut up. But moving on from there, how it shoots, really enjoyable. It is a blowback weapon system, so you do get, I don't want to say a lot of recoil. It's 9mm, so it's not a lot of recoil, but I mean, you definitely feel that bolt sliding back and hitting the back, and you feel that in your shoulder, which I don't think is a bad thing. All right, so moving on to kind of some of the things I don't really enjoy about this firearm. On the outside, you know, not too much. I really enjoy how it's set up externally. Again, you know, maybe something different with the lamp to have it a little bit higher so I get a little bit more free space. I do think I will change this out eventually for the HV Industries folding one charging handle. Nothing wrong with this one. It just sticks out. Folding one would just be nice. And again, I just do like the outside of it. So something cool. I don't even know why it's really a feature and if it really is cool. But normally locks back fine. But this button right here will release your bolt so you can charge it without it locking back. I'm not exactly sure why you would need that. So one issue that I do have with this, that just reminded me right there, is also ambidextrous magazine release. Wonder if you can see it on this one. Well, you can see that it's really dirty. We'll get to that in a little bit. You might be able to see this gun kind of eats up your mags, which I don't know, hasn't been too much of a problem yet, but something I have noticed is some Glock magazines, OEM Glock magazines, do not lock back on this. They lock back on my Glocks, but on this firearm they do not. And I can't figure out any rhyme or reason why. Some do, some don't. Some will lock back every single time. The ones that don't will never lock back. I don't know why. So a little bit off topic than what we're talking about, but moving into the interior of the firearm. So it takes down just like a AR. I'll get the lower out of here, and then you got just the upper receiver. So disassembly, and something I should mention now is they're dirty. I mean, this thing gets dirty fast, especially suppressed. It gets really dirty, and your hands are going to be covered taking this apart. But taking this apart, I don't know how well you guys will be able to see this. You need to depress this back plate. And then this is where some of my issues come into this. This isn't really a field serviceable weapon without a specific tool. So I just got a little Allen key, depress that, and then pull this little locking tab down, and then your guide rod and spring will come free. So let's talk about this first. Firstly, I don't know if this is supposed to be 2 pieces. I really don't know. But then here's your guide rod. So this is what shipped to me broken, and they promptly replaced it. And it still did fire with it snapped in 2 and both pieces in there. But this is my main problem with the firearm. This feels so cheap. I mean, I know I could snap that with no ease. And again, I don't know if that's supposed to be broken like that. It shoots like this. I've noticed it's been like this for a little bit. This just feels like a cheap 3D printed. I don't even know. It feels cheaper than 3D printed. And this is the one piece that just disappoints me so much. I wish this was a higher quality material. And I don't know why they are going with this, because it's broken on me before. It's broken on quite a few people that I see on the Matador Arms subreddit. And it's awesome that the guys will replace them for nothing. But that just takes away the effectiveness of the firearm if it's going to continually break. And this is so easy to break that another reason why I say it's not really field serviceable, because you're going to set it down, something's going to happen, and it's just going to break. So what I have done, I don't even remember how much one of these things are, but I keep a handful on hand now because I just don't want to break one of them and have to wait for shipping. And unfortunately, the shipping does seem to take a while from them, which is really unfortunate. But moving on from there, I mean, just like an AK or any other similar weapon system, push the charging handle, you'll get your bolt. So this is 2 pieces, just slides right together. I don't know much about bolts, so I'm not going to talk much about that at all, besides it's pretty heavy. And then, well, we're accidentally doing it. You want to take your charging handle out. I'm not going to take it out because I don't want to lose these pieces here. But you slide it to the rear where there's this opening. Then you can slide that right out. You can slide that right out and then switch sides if you need to. It does ship on this side. I had to switch it so that I can use my light on that side. But yeah, there it is. Basically fully disassembled. I won't say fully disassembled because I left that piece in there. And then looking at it from the inside, again, I don't know how much you guys will be able to see. Not much going on here. Pretty simple, pretty basic in the terms of just the shell of the receiver. Again, super dirty. I don't know if that's what you should be expecting from a firearm like this. This is my first type of this style of firearm, but super dirty. You know, I keep it well lubricated. I'm not going to clean it a ton. I don't with any of my firearms, and it should function fine if it just has proper lubrication. So reassembly, again, pretty simple. Just make sure that the bolt is lined up correctly, put it in there, and then it slides home. Guide rod and spring, put it right into there, and you're good. Depress the back plate, and this is where you really need the tool. You probably didn't need the tool to take it apart, but you depress that so that is, but there's two little tabs in here that you got to get it below, and then take your tool and you got to kind of play with it as you do it. See if we can get it here. Sometimes I gotta, yeah, sometimes I get this a little stiff, so it's easier to take it out first. Get it started just a bit. And wow, am I having trouble doing this now? Let's see. There we go. Get it on in there. And then for me, I'm gonna wipe my hands off at this stage because, as you can already see, it's getting all over the firearm, and that's just kind of annoying. Not a big deal, but annoys me a little bit, so I'll wipe my hands off there. And then putting it back on the lower, same as an AR-15. Line the front, line the back up, push the pins in. This one always seems to be a little bit hard. It wasn't that time, I guess, but there we go. And then functions check. Obviously, first I'll make sure it's clear, should be clear. Safety, fire, charge the weapon, got to release, fire one more time, and we are good to go. So again, the fact it takes Glock mags is awesome. Pretty much everybody has a ton already. Again, doesn't have to be the big ones. You can use your regular Glock 19 mags, but it's a fun little gun. And again, practically speaking, I just don't know how anything of this platform really holds up practically. But it's a fun gun, and I enjoy it. I shoot it quite a bit, and it's a lot cheaper to shoot than 5.56, and it's just fun. I mean, especially suppressed. It's quiet. It's just an enjoyable gun. So yeah. I'm sure you guys will have some questions. You guys always do. So go ahead and I don't know, a lot of you guys who have questions don't seem to leave comments. You want to DM me, but leave a comment so other people can see what you're asking. So I'm sure somebody else will have the same thing. But yeah, that's the MAT9K.